So I've got my notes on my iPhone. And Katie eloquently set me up perfectly because she asked what you're passionate about. And what I'm passionate about is technology. I'm very passionate about technology. Some people might think I'm a bit too passionate about technology. And I might be. They say admitting it's the first step. Some might call me an internet junkie. I prefer the term super connected. Some say what I have is a sickness. I like to call it a syndrome. I'll give you the basics. So I do my grocery shopping online, often at midnight, when the house is quiet, and I can click, click, click away as I browse the aisles, only to have a man come to my house the next day or the day after with all of my groceries, saving me all that time. I pay my bills online. I even, now with my new fantastic iPad, read my books on my iPad. It takes me 5 minutes to browse, click, download, and I'm reading whatever book I choose. It's pretty phenomenal. I love technology. So the funny part about that is that I rarely have to leave the house anymore. It all can be brought to me. I can learn anything I want in the comfort of my bed in my PJs. And when I do take that rare opportunity to venture outside of this beautiful town of Princeton, I can pull up Google Maps. I can open up Yelp and find out what's the hottest sushi restaurant in any community I travel to. And I can, for the most part, find out anything that's going on, because there's an app for that. I have about 197 friends on Facebook. And I'm not bragging, because if you're on Facebook, you probably know that that's not really that many friends. But for me, it works. It gives me a good way of keeping in touch with people. I always know what my friends are up to day or night. In fact, I rarely have to call them anymore, because I know what they're doing. And thanks to Facebook, I never miss a birthday. I get a little announcement that says, Jane's birthday is today. And I don't even have to send her a card. I can simply send her a little note on her wall that says, hey Jane, happy birthday. But lets not only her, but everybody else know how very much I care. My best friends, I see probably once a year. Well, maybe twice a year. Well, that's not true. Maybe once a month, because we tend to Skype quite often. Do you know that I can Skype and connect with 10 friends in a month in half the time it takes me to actually visit one? I mean, most of my friends now live an hour or 2 hours away, the best ones anyway. I save a lot of time by being online. So the reason I was asked to speak tonight is because I own a local technology company, as you heard. It's called Princeton Scoop. We call ourselves a social media marketing and advertising firm, but we made that up to keep our clients happy. We're really just a virtual online community. We talk to people in the community wherever they exist with technology. So we have a Facebook fan page where we share deals, steals, events, and happenings. Things that we find out that are happening, messages from our clients. We have a nice, robust Twitter following. We have a weekly events email newsletter that goes out on Wednesdays. So we call it carefully curated. So we find out all the good things that are going on, and we deliver you probably the top 10 for the weekend. And we also have a blog. And on that blog, we sort of muse about other things that are happening in Princeton that we can't say in 140 or 400 characters. So I lived here for a couple of years before I started Princeton Scoop. As you heard, I own a couple of other companies. And in a hiatus, I took some time off and started looking around and wondering what was going on in town. And had a really hard time figuring out what was meant for me. There were so many things going on that I sort of was lost. I would hear about amazing things that happened, and I would say, well, where did you hear about that? Someone would say, I don't know if so-and-so told me, or maybe I read it online, or it could have been in the paper. Or I'd pick up the paper, and I'd see an event with beautiful people laughing and having fun that was last Saturday. It was killing me. So I needed to figure out a way to disseminate information that worked better. And that first came through Twitter. And so we're more of a push mechanism for media. So instead of having to come to us to find out what's going on, we'll meet you halfway. So I connect with my community finally, on a daily basis. Well, actually, probably on an hourly basis, except for the hours between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. And the syndrome I talk about is my reality. I always know what's happening locally. In fact, now I always know what's happening globally because I follow CNN on Twitter. People say to me all the time, Melissa, you must know everybody in town. The truth of the matter is, though, I really don't. And I realized that as I sent my son to preschool last year. And in the mail arrived my welcome packet, chock full of papers that I had to fill out. And one of them stopped me in my tracks. It said, local emergency contact. My virtual online community doesn't provide the intimacy to know who's going to take care of my son when I'm in a meeting and he's sick. So in this frenzied state of super connectedness, I found myself pretty disconnected. It's a bit of a wake-up call. Let's be frank. We're all pretty savvy with technology, I bet, which means we all could be sitting at home in our slippers and robes with our cup of tea, streaming the TED event. But we're not. We chose to be here today in community, to share, to listen, to laugh, to cry, to sing, to share with each other, to become part of a community, an offline community. And I'm honored to be a part of this first ever TED Women event. So tonight I invite you to connect with me, to connect with each other, and to explore the question of where's the balance between our online and offline world. That's enough.